Hiram Smith prophesied the return of the church to Kirtland when he said, "I, the Lord, will send forth and build up Kirtland, and your children may possess the Kirtland lands, and Kirtland will be polished and refined according to my word."
Well, early that spring of '77, we decided to take our little family and took a drive out to Kirtland. There really wasn't much here. There was the temple, of course. My wife and I simultaneously turned to each other and said, "Wow, that was really depressing." There indeed was a scourge. It was real. You could feel it. In 1979, Ezra Taft Benson came to Kirtland for the groundbreaking of what would become the Kirtland Stake Center.
There is no other church history location that we as a church have that is more significant than that the scourge that was placed upon the people in that prophecy is being lifted today. We have a new day here and a great opportunity and a great day ahead of us.
It was a joyful time because we'd often heard about the saints coming back to Kirtland, and they would be here, and they would be building up Kirtland. And this was such a big sign that the church was established here and was being built up again.
A sad thing happened shortly after the stake was organized. An arsonist broke into the stake center and burned the building to the ground.
We watched as the building burned. We watched as the roof fell in. And we stood up, I feel it even now, we stood up on the street up here and cried, both of us, to see this beautiful building burn, not understanding why anyone would do that.
However, the Lord had a different idea. He made tragedy into a blessing, because that event turned the attitude of the Kirtland community.
It was very humbling to realize that this community really did care. And it took this tragedy to have that communicated to us, because up until that point, we had felt like we were being encased by a brick wall, and all of a sudden those walls were coming down and they were finally talking to us.
And the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, now the Community of Christ Church, came to us and they said, "You're welcome to use any of our facilities." And we did for a year and a half. While the stake center was being rebuilt, we held our stake presidency and our high council meetings in the reorganized church stake center. The tragedy turned into a blessing and allowed ultimately for the building of the historic sites.
We're just so thankful, about the dedication, the preservation of your religious values and your history here. And I have a certificate of recognition celebrating the 10th anniversary of historic Kirtland Visitor Center in Lake County, Ohio.
Many of our members have actual family members who were early descendants of the church. For example, I have a bishop that's a Whitney. I have another man in the stake who's a Tanner. As a matter of fact, I have some early connections to the church members. So it's a wonderful blessing to be here and to be able to continue on with the work that they started.
The prophecies about Kirtland being rebuilt are just really beginning. There's a long way to go.
We're going to be going to the Joseph Smith home while we're here, and he's my great-great-uncle. Kirtland then has a very deep meaning for me and my family. I've been here many times, and every time I come, I have the same feeling. This really is hallowed ground, because it's no small thing to realize that Joseph Smith, the prophet of this, the dispensation of the fullness of times, walked these streets, lived here for over 7 years, raised part of his family here. It's sacred ground.